Hello and welcome to episode 67 of the She Must Knit podcast. My name is Erin and thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. I hope you guys had a great week. We had another pretty good week. I've now officially survived 2 weeks of summer vacation. We are starting to get into a rhythm, into a routine. She's really enjoying the activities that we have every week. So there's about 3 activities that have been happening every week, and I've signed her up for as long as I can, as long as they have the sign up sheets for. And yeah, she's really enjoying those. I did take some clips of her creations this week, and I might put those at the end for anybody interested in seeing Avery. I know some of you just love seeing her. But yeah, we had another good week. Now I will say, I'm starting to realize that this summer is probably going to go by really, really fast, and I am finding it very hard to get work done when she's home. And I have a show coming up in August. I need to get my butt moving on that. So we're going to have to start figuring out how to fit that into our daily schedule. But anyway, enough chitter chatter about summer plans and stuff. What do I have to share with you today? I have a finished object. I have progress on one of the projects that you have seen. I think the last week was the first time I showed it to you. And then I have 2 new cast-ons. Oh my goodness, I know, horrible, bad person, whatever. I know there's certain projects that I'm supposed to be working on, and I threw caution to the wind and I've cast on 2 new projects, but I will share those with you. I also have the collection from the last vote, and I have 2 fabrics for the new vote, and then I have a little sale announcement for the shop. So let's get started. I don't have any coffee today. Actually, today would have been a really good day for coffee. We went to the park earlier, and oh my goodness, I had to go back into the house and get a sweater. I don't know what happened. It must be, there's some sort of cold front coming through. It was chilly. But right now I have some flavored sparkling water, and so that's what I have to drink. And yeah, let's get going. I think I am going to share with you first my finished object. So I was almost done with these last week, and I just decided to power through them as much as possible to get these done. These are a square on my bingo card. I can now mark these off. I am so excited. They make me want to cast on another pair, but I promise I will wait. I have finished my hand spun socks. How fun are these socks? I feel like I need to get both of them in the frame because they're just so different. So these are the socks that I made from my hand spun yarn. I made this yarn with a bag of tiddly bits, which were just little tiny fluffs of fiber in all different colors, and you just kind of reach into the bag, pull one out, spin it up, and then I 2-plied it, so it just gave me all these crazy color combinations. For the heels, I did go in with a your standard commercial yarn. I used some drops of Fable in kind of a teal color just so that the heels I knew had some nylon, had some strength. I have not made hand spun socks before, so I have no idea how durable these will be. Plus they are a 2-ply, so they may not be as strong as like a 3-ply tighter twist yarn. But otherwise, I'm very happy with them. As I was working with them, I could tell that they were slightly thicker than a fingering. I did use 2.25 millimeter needles on these because I knew it was a little bit thicker, but I did start my cast on with the same amount of stitches that I would if I was using a regular fingering. So I started with 81 stitches, I did a 2x1 rib, and then once I got past the rib, I kind of looked at the width of the sock that I was getting, and I did some decreases kind of down the leg to bring my stitch count down because I knew with the German short row heel, if I had too many stitches when I started it, the heel overall would just be too big. So I decreased as I got down to the heel. I did the German short row heel, and then I believe I decreased further because I do like the circumference for my foot to be even smaller than that of my leg. But overall, I think these are so much fun. So this was the first one. I know the first sock had a lot more of that chartreuse green, like this green that you can see throughout the sock. And then this is the second one, and the second one only has that chartreuse kind of down at the bottom. I think the second sock is my favorite. I would love to know if you have a favorite. Which one do you like? Do you like sock number 1 or sock number 2? I just think it's so much fun that they're just, yeah, they're so different. I mean, you can tell they're from the same yarn, but they are just so different and fun. If I had, I'd almost be willing to get another bag of Tiddly Bits. I don't know if Robin is still making those. I'll have to look it up. If she is, and if she still has an Etsy shop, I will try and put the link below, but I haven't seen her post about them anymore on her Instagram. But I'd almost be tempted just to take some of my fiber, my existing fiber in my collection, and just kind of take a bunch of different braids and make them all into like little baby bits and little nests and just mix them all up and kind of make my own bag of Tiddly Bits, because I remember the spinning was really fun to do. That I would have done this several years ago, but the spinning was really, really fun. And then the plying was even more fun because the colors just matched up all over the place. You didn't know what you were going to get. And then I have to say, knitting with them, it was really, really fun knitting with that yarn. So I am just so pleased that I have a pair of hand spun socks, and I'm going to have to go through my other hand spun yarn that is kind of sock appropriate. I did have two other options when I put that up for vote. Maybe I'll have to pick the one that got the second amount of votes and cast on another pair of hand spun socks. I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself because I have way more things that I need to work on than another pair of socks when I don't need them until the winter times. So for now, that is my finished object, and I am so pleased with them. So the next thing I am going to share with you is the progress on my July Desert Vista Dye Works socks. I am working on these for the Desert Vista Dye Works challenge, the monthly challenge. I am now committing to doing a pair for the whole year. Originally, I was thinking I was just going to try for the 6 months and see how I feel, and I'm still feeling really good about the challenge. I'm still having a lot of fun. It's usually the fall that I start to feel a little bit of fatigue with it, but we're just going to keep going as long as I can. And this is the colorway that I picked for July. This is Big Bang. It is based on a photo of the Big Bang Theory TV show, which is one of the shows that I really, really enjoy. And so when she put this up, when I saw this in the shop and it came up the month, because her colorways retire every month, when I saw this one come up in the month that it came up in, I had to grab it. And this is how it's knitting up. I am really, 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 really liking this. So I think last week I was still somewhere on the leg when I showed it to you. I was probably a fair bit down. I think maybe I was about here when I showed it to you. And I have continued on. This has been a really, really good park and library project. And I am now at the point where I have done the increases for the triangular heel that I really like. I think I'm at the point where I have all the stitches that I need between the two markers, so all my increases are done. And so the next step is going to be to work to the center of this kind of triangle and then start working back and forth with slips and knit two togethers and all that kind of stuff, working back and decreasing out those extra stitches to get back to the original stitch count for half the sock. So I am doing, this has now become kind of my vanilla recipe. Again, I cast on 81 stitches at the top, 2x1 rib. I like my leg to be about 5 inches or so. And then I have to, the thing with this heel is I have to remember that doing all the increases back here does add to the overall length of the leg. So I need to start the increases earlier than I would if I was just throwing in like a German short row heel. But yeah, so I just work down the 81 stitches. I start doing the triangular shaping, and then once I am done the heel decreases, I like to do some further decreases to bring the stitch count for my foot down to about 70 stitches. So overall, I take away 11 stitches from my original cast on. Now, because there are so many different stripes in this particular color, I probably will end up doing some yarn management once I get back to joining in the round. And so what I'll do is I will just pull, I'll look and see what stripe I ended off on. So on this side, you can see that I'm working into the green. I don't think that's a full green stripe. So when I go to work in the round again, I will pull the yarn out until I've pulled out a little bit of the green and then rejoin, so that the striping sequence will continue. And then also I do think I will do what I usually do, and when I start the second sock, I will rewind the yarn so that the stripes go in the opposite direction. I think this will be the perfect kind of color sequence to do that with. So that is where I am on this first sock. We still have a few days before the midpoint of the month, and usually I like to try and get that first sock done by the midpoint of the month so that I know I have plenty of time to get the second sock done. I should be able to get this first sock done, at least, if not the whole sock, most of the first sock done by the end of this weekend. I do tend to get a lot of sock knitting time over the weekend. It's just very easy for me to fit that in with our weekend plans. So that is my first work in progress that I'm going to share with you. The next two are brand new cast-ons. Now, last week when I was showing what I was working on, I had shown the green sweater that I've been working on since May, the Cumulus sweater. And I was saying how I was just kind of losing my mojo with it. You know, it's summertime, it's hot. I knew I wasn't going to be able to wear it, even if I did finish it in the next few weeks. And I just had the urge to work on other things. So I put the question out to you guys, you know, do you think I should put this away and with the commitment to bring it back out in September and cast on a summer garment, or should I just stick it out? And the majority of you said, just put that thing aside and cast on a summer garment. So that is what I did. So I think it was about the midpoint of this week, maybe Wednesday, that I decided to cast on for the taffeta top. This is something that I had seen done in the Bling string group. Someone else made this project. Otherwise, I don't think I would have even seen this pattern. And I just think it's a really, really cute garment. I have visions of wearing it over a black jersey dress that I have, just as a little extra layer, as a way to just kind of dress it up a little bit, create kind of a fun little outfit. And I did cast on with the yarn that I showed you last week. And this is really, really blowing out. But it's a beautiful kind of cherry red wool silk blend. I have quite a bit of this yarn. I think the original skein had about 800 or so yards. I did have to split it into 2 cakes, so this is the first cake. And so I cast on, and I think I can say that I think this is going to be a really good project for the types of activities that we are going to be doing over the summer. I was able to look at the pattern and get it started, and I've pretty much memorized the base pattern. So there is going to be something that I have to do after so many inches, but just the general pattern of it I can do without referring to the pattern. Now, it's better for when I am on my own knitting, so at the library while she's doing an activity, or if we're at the park and she's playing with some friends. If I'm with someone that I am talking to, I think my socks are the better project to bring. But if I know it's just going to be me, I can bring this along with me. So this is what I have so far. And the pattern, like I said, is very simple. So you start off with just some garter stitch. This is a free pattern. And then you go into this kind of eyelet pattern. And the eyelet pattern happens, it doesn't stay on the right side or the wrong side of the row. It kind of alternates. So what you end up getting is a reversible stitch pattern, which I really, really like, because I believe with this pattern, I've looked at some of the projects, and it looks like it's basically this giant rectangle with a slit kind of in the middle, and then you do this kind of twisty thing and seaming thing to make it look the way it looks when it's finished. So because of that, I think it's really cool that it's reversible, so the both sides basically look the same. Now I know I've already kind of gone off. There was one row here where I started the pattern. I think you were supposed to knit 1 and then start the pattern, and I think I knit 2 and then started the pattern. So the eyelet, you can see the eyelets are off. This one is off a little bit from these guys. I'm not even going to worry about that. I think once it's kind of seamed together and twisted and whatever I need to do with it, you're not even going to notice. So I'm just gonna knit. I know approximately when these eyelet rows are gonna happen. If I do one too early or one too late and it ends up being a little wabi-sabi, I'm not even gonna care. I think this is just gonna be a fun, easy knit for me, and whatever it turns out is how it turns out, and it's gonna be just fine. Now I will say that the sizing could be a little bit of a gamble. The original pattern looks like it is knit with like a lace weight yarn, and this is a sport weight yarn. So instead of doing the size that I normally would have, which would be like an extra large or so, usually about a 46-inch bust, I am doing like the second smallest size. So that's the numbers that I'm following. And we are just going to hope for the best. I didn't do a gauge swatch. I didn't figure out any math. I decided to just wing it, and we'll see. I think what I might do is stretch this out and kind of measure the length that I have on this now, because there is a schematic in the pattern that kind of gives you an idea of what the dimensions should be. So I might just check mine against that. But I think even if it is wider than it should be, the way because it's kind of knit across, it's just going to make my garment longer than the one in the pattern. So I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. Usually when I go into these things, I'm just like, it'll be fine. It usually works out. So that's what I'm doing. This is how far I've got. I'm really enjoying the pattern. Though the yarn is fine. I think it'll be nicer once it's kind of blocked and stuff like that because of the silk in there. But I really like this color, and I think just working on something other than that green sweater has been very refreshing and just very good for feeling motivated to knit again. So that project has really helped. The other thing I cast on, okay, I wasn't even planning on casting this on, but I finished the hand spun socks, and I usually like to have 2 pairs of socks on my needles. And at first I was like, you know what, it's fine, I'll just keep working on my DVD ones. I need to get those done anyway. But I think a day or 2 passed, and I was just like, no, I really want to have another pair of socks on the needles. And if you remember when I was talking about my monthly goals, one of my goals is to cast on a pair of socks for Dennis. So on my bingo card this year, I want to make him 4 pairs by the end of the year as part of his Christmas gift. And to date, I have only finished 1 of those pairs. So for July, I really wanted to get another pair started. And so I just decided to do that. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get them started. And that way, if I need, for some reason, if I need another pair on the needles, I have another pair on the needles. And then once I finish my DVD socks, if I finish them before the end of the month and I can't start my August socks, at least I have another pair to work on. So I pulled this yarn out of my stash. I probably bought this within the last few years. I have kind of a little stash of yarn that I've been putting aside for Dennis. I have always wanted to try one of these Perfect yarns, and I just think this is a really fun colorway, and it actually works out well because I think when I bought this yarn, I was still doing most of my socks toe up, and I know the way they've designed this yarn, it kind of works better cuff down because they kind of have predetermined the amount of yarn that you use for each sock, and it's divided by this yellow strand that you see here. So once you knit the first sock, you kind of pull out the yarn until you find the next bit of yellow, pull all that out, and then it will start you off starting for the second sock. So now that I'm kind of preferring to do my socks top down, I think this yarn will suit that better. Anyway, so this is the yarn that I've decided to pick out for him. If you're curious, the color is 9135. I think it's kind of got a fun, it's just a fun mix for guys. It's got some grays and got some oranges. It looks like there might be some other things in there, a little bit of blue. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this knits up. And all I've got started is this. This is all I have. I've cast on my stitches. So I think for Dennis, I usually do 72 stitches, I think either 72 or 74. It's smaller than the 81 that I usually do for myself. So there's either 72 or 74 stitches on here. I don't know what it is. I do my 3x1 rib. And what I find really helpful for doing the cast on is I will cast on and I will do the rib for about 3 rows, and then I will join in the round. And I find it just makes it so much easier to join without worrying about the twisting. The pattern is already kind of established. Everything is kind of sits nicely and nice and straight. It just makes everything much easier for me to cast on 4 socks this way. So that's all I have. I have about 3 rows done. I think I'm at the point now where I will be joining in the round, and then I will just continue on my merry way with the way that I normally make socks. Now I will have to see. I forgot as I was casting on and I was knitting the ribbing, I was like, oh, I wonder what kind of heel I'm going to use for this, because I think they kind of determine, like the colors are kind of determined where the heel is. It looks like it would be a good amount for maybe the German short row, maybe I could do that. I don't really like doing a heel flap and gusset, so I think we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens when I get down to that part. But yeah, I think I just keep on knitting the basic pattern of the sock. So all these little colors that you see here, I think I just keep knitting, 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 and then when I get to another plain brown section, that's when I do the heel. So it's going to be an adventure. I've never used this yarn before, but I'm excited to see how it turns out. Maybe I'll have a little bit more of those done next week. I don't know. I'm not going to focus on those because I do want to get my Desert Vista dyework socks done, but perhaps I will, and we will see how it's going. So that is all the knitting that I have for you this week. The next thing I have to share with you is the collection from the vote last time. I believe the fabrics that you were able to choose from were either some snails or the butterflies, and the snails won hand down. I think there was maybe 1 or 2 votes for the butterflies. Otherwise, everybody just loved the snails. And I love the colors in that fabric, so I was happy to work with them. Now, for this collection, I do not have any yarn because I used all the yarn that I had in stock for my friend's collection, which is currently available on my shop. The listings will be up there for all of July. And so yeah, it was just bags for this collection, and then I have the fabrics for the next collection as well. So I was able to get 3 bags out of the snail fabric. So the first one is this sidekick bag. I just thought the fabric placement and the way that it wasn't like structured worked really well for this size of bag. So this is the sidekick bag. And then I also did a Bitty Buddy because I really liked the lining fabric that I found for the snails, and so I wanted to do a bag that kind of showed the lining fabric. So that is the Bitty Buddy. That is my smallest drawstring, and it is a great one for socks. And then I was also able to get a little notion pouch. So I had a little bit left, and so I did a notion pouch out of the fabric as well. So that is the collection with the snail fabric. And then for the next vote, I decided to do kind of a critter themed vote. I picked 2 that had some cute animals on it for you to choose from. The first is these little hedgies, and again, I don't think I'm going to be able to do yarn for this collection, so I wasn't worried about picking fabrics that had colors that would work well for yarn. I just picked fabrics that I thought were really cute. And so the first fabric to vote on is these little hedgehogs. And then the second fabric to vote on are these manatees. I don't often see manatee fabric, so when I saw this, I thought this would be really, really cute. All the little manatees happily swimming around. So yes, that's your second choice, is the manatees. So let me know in the comments below if you would like to see the next collection made with either the hedgehog fabric or the manatee fabric. And again, any comment on any of my videos counts towards an entry for my monthly draws, as well as any order in my shop. So that is the collection, and then the only thing I have left to talk about is the sale announcement. So if you are a long-time follower of mine, you know that every July on my birthday, I do a birthday sale, and I wanted to let you know today that that is coming up next week. So I believe my birthday is on the Tuesday, so my birthday is July 16th. So on July 16th in my shop, if you use the code birthday, you will get 30% off any ready-to-ship bag item and yarn item that is not a special set. So any of my deluxe sock sets and super sets and stuff like that, any of my special pre-orders are not included in that, but if there is any yarn left that is not a special set, and then all my ready-to-ship bags are all included in the sale, so you can get 30% off with the code birthday. So yeah, that is the sale. I just wanted to give you a heads up on that, and then that is all the knitting that I have for you this week. So I think the only thing left is the little videos that I took of Avery talking about the activities that she did this week. So if you're interested in hearing from her, you can just keep watching, and if not, I hope you have a fabulous weekend. I hope you get lots of crafting done, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Hello, my name is Avery, and I just came out of the library doing my Discovery Cup, and I reused noodles, toothpicks, and marshmallows, and the challenge was whoever gets the sturdiest and tower gets a marshmallow. And if you make another one, you get 2 marshmallows. And this one is my first. That's breaking. And here is my sturdy second. I use a lot of tape on the bottom. So that's what I showed for today, so bye. Hi, my name is Avery, and I just came out of Nature Club. And I got these leaves. I'm going to show you one at a time. Those are the 4, and here's more. I think that's it, but of the leaves. But here's some drawings of the leaves that we put them under, and then we did that. And this one is the one that I picked, and there's the ones that's crowded. And that's the big one, I think. Okay, I think that's all for this video, so I hope you have a great summer. Bye! Hi, my name is Avery, and I came back from art club, and I'm going to show you what I made. This is my best thing that I think I worked on. I'm going to show you the first one. Everything, the glitter is trying to fall off though. And here is my second. These are actually sculpted out from plants, but here's the other one that I tried out, but it didn't really show up well. And here's a pine cone, so never do it because it kind of looks weird. Only spikes. So I hope you enjoyed this art. Bye.
Kaboom.